Ukraine has confirmed a major battlefield pullback in the east, acknowledging that its forces have withdrawn from the town of Siversk as Russian troops intensify pressure along the front line. Kyiv's general staff said the decision was taken to preserve the lives of Ukrainian soldiers and protect the combat capability of its units, citing Russia's significant advantage in manpower and equipment, compounded by harsh weather conditions. The city of Siversk has been liberated. The center group of troops is destroying encircled enemy formations east of Krasnoarmysk, which has come under our full control.
We understand that by creating this fortified area around Siversk and in the city itself, the enemy was counting that we would stall during the assault on the city, thereby holding back our advance. The enemy didn't succeed in anything, and you succeeded in everything you had planned and everything you had conceived. Congratulations. I want to thank all the guys, all the soldiers, and all the commanders for their combat work. And in conclusion, dear comrades, the Russian armed forces continue to fulfill the tasks of the special military operation.
Russia had already declared Siversk captured nearly 2 weeks ago. Ukrainian officials insist the fight is not over. They say Ukrainian forces are still engaged in battles around Siversk and that the town remains within the reach of Ukrainian artillery and fire control. Siversk sits about 30 kilometers east of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, the last two major cities in Donetsk still under Ukrainian control, making its loss strategically significant as Moscow continues to push westward. As Ukraine confirms the withdrawal, Russia says its offensive momentum is accelerating across multiple regions. According to Russia's defense ministry, its forces have taken control of Prilipka in Kharkiv region, just a day after claiming control over Vilcha, and liberated Andriivka in the Dnipropetrovsk region, with Moscow describing Andriivka as a key defensive hub covering more than 9 square kilometers. Russian officials claim more than 500 buildings were cleared during the operation, allowing forces to expand a staging area for further advances toward the west bank of the Gaichur River. These claims have not been independently verified. Moscow also says its Sever, Zapad, Yug, Center, Vostok, and Dnieper force groupings are advancing simultaneously, striking Ukrainian mechanized, assault, air assault, marine, and territorial defense units across Kharkiv, Donetsk, Sumy, Zaporizhia, Luhansk, and Dnipropetrovsk regions. Russia's defense ministry claims nearly 900 Ukrainian troops were killed in a single day of fighting, along with armored vehicles, artillery systems, electronic warfare stations, ammunition depots, and supply hubs. Ukraine has not confirmed those figures. In a major escalation, Moscow also acknowledged it carried out a massive long-range strike using ground and air-launched precision weapons, including Kinzhal hypersonic missiles and long-range drones. Russia claims the strikes targeted Ukraine's defense industry, energy facilities, port infrastructure, drone command centers, and temporary deployment areas used by Ukrainian forces, foreign fighters, and mercenaries. The Russian military says all assigned targets were hit. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia fired over 650 drones and 9 missiles targeting Kyiv, Odessa. The attacks reportedly left 3 people dead.
A striking admission from Ukraine's president. Volodymyr Zelensky has now said that Ukraine cannot afford its own army once the war ends. In January, Zelensky said Ukrainian military stood at nearly 880,000 troops.
What is the status of the negotiation process regarding the limitation of the personnel strength of Ukraine's defense forces to 800 новым? Сильно дорого, 800,000. Will Ukraine be able, under a ceasefire, to independently finance and provide for such an army, considering the initiative to implement motivational contracts? Well, first of all, there is simply no restriction on the size of the defense forces to 800,000. This is not a defense force, these are the armed forces of Ukraine. Our proposal, coming directly from our military, is for an army of 800,000 personnel. Now, moving on to the second part of your question, will Ukraine be able to independently finance such an army? Should a ceasefire be established? No, it's not capable. There won't be enough financial resources. That's why I'm having this dialogue with leaders, because I view the partial funding of our army by partners as our security guarantees, because Ukraine's armed forces are our foremost security guarantee. We need some time to stabilize the post-war economy, to recover and achieve independent funding for our army. But for now, we need our partners' help.
Leaked versions of a US-backed peace roadmap suggested a far smaller post-war army, capped at 600,000. However, Ukraine and its European allies disagreed. They insisted on a larger force, claiming it was needed to deter a future Russian threat. Moscow rejected that claim, calling it nonsense. And now, the hard reality. Asked whether Ukraine could support 800,000 active servicemen after a ceasefire, Zelensky did not hesitate. Could Ukraine pay for it alone? No. There are no financial resources, he said. That is why Kyiv is asking the West to step in, to help fund Ukraine's army as part of post-war security guarantees. As the battlefield debate shifts to balance sheets, diplomacy has intensified thousands of miles away. In Miami, US and Ukrainian envoys described days of talks as productive and constructive, but there is no breakthrough. Senior representatives from Ukraine, Russia, and Europe have been holding separate meetings in southern Florida, hosted by President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. The discussions follow Washington's controversial peace proposal, a 28-point plan initially seen as echoing Kremlin demands. That proposal has since been redrafted with Ukrainian and European input. Its contents remain secret. Behind the scenes, negotiators are aligning positions on multiple documents: security guarantees, military funding, economic recovery, and the sequencing of next steps. European national security advisors have joined the talks, seeking a unified strategy with Washington and Kyiv. Russia, too, is at the table. President Vladimir Putin's envoy met separately with the U.S. delegation in talks also described as productive but unresolved. The Kremlin has already rejected recent changes to the peace plan as unacceptable. Moscow insists Europe's involvement complicates negotiations and accuses the continent of pushing the war forward. The talks continue. The details remain hidden. But one message is now unmistakable. Even after the fighting stops, Ukraine's security and its army may depend on the West.
At the foreign ministry level, are there any developments?
In your own opinion right now?
Slow progress is being observed, and I want to reiterate that it is accompanied by extremely harmful and malicious attempts by an influential group of states to torpedo these efforts and to completely derail the corresponding diplomatic process. It is necessary to resist this. We call upon the American administration to more actively oppose this. We are prepared to continue our work within the framework that was defined in Anchorage. So, leaders defined them and they remain fully relevant. Several recent rounds of contact with US representatives confirm that the US administration continues to operate precisely within these parameters set in Anchorage. This is important. And this is the foundation on which we must now proceed.
Authorities have permitted elections to take place amidst ongoing hostilities. A crucial question is how to guarantee the safety of the vote. Moscow considers Ukraine's current leadership illegitimate. In this regard, would Moscow permit a temporary ceasefire during Ukrainian elections so that the legitimate leadership could be elected there?
I am not prepared to discuss a temporary ceasefire. Our position is well known. We are not calling for a temporary cessation of fire. We advocate for a sustainable end to hostilities within the framework of an agreement that will guarantee a solution to the problems that are the root causes of this conflict and which will guarantee the constitutional order of the Russian Federation, taking into account those decisions that have been adopted in the relevant territories by the population of these territories in recent years. A temporary ceasefire is not the kind of arrangement that would truly allow us to make progress. I wouldn't want to speculate right now about what kind of timelines or specific countries might be involved. We must work with focused effort, and this is being carried out on the basis of the understanding for an agreement which has been discussed over the past few days, specifically during the meeting in Florida, and was initially laid out by the presidents when they held their meeting in Anchorage, Alaska.
Our negotiating team is already returning today after a meeting in America with President Trump's representatives. By tomorrow morning, I expect to receive a comprehensive report regarding all the documents that have been meticulously prepared. Indeed, a great deal of important work has been completed. First and foremost, the documents concerning security guarantees, along with the 20 points of the core framework document, which were discussed by the Ukrainian and American delegations. Rustem Umerov and Andriy Khnatov are set to present their reports tomorrow. It is vital that the American side obtain a clear, definitive response from Russia, demonstrating a genuine willingness to concentrate its efforts on something entirely different rather than its ongoing aggression. Naturally, after so many years since the start of this hybrid conflict, now a full-scale war, it's truly difficult to imagine Putin living without committing atrocities and initiating invasions. But the significant decline in the price of Russian oil, powerful global sanctions, and the continuation of all other forms of pressure, these are the factors that will ultimately convince even such a stubborn individual. Putin continues to wage this brutal war, sustained by the vast funds he uses to secure the unwavering loyalty of his inner circle and to pacify the Russian populace, while also financing the horrific killings on the front lines. However, throughout this past year, substantial and coordinated efforts have been made to ensure that the Russian war machine now has considerably less financial support and resources. I am profoundly grateful to all our brave soldiers for their impactful and strategic deep strikes. Almost every single day now, we are seeing tangible results. And this is particularly evident in the deep strikes targeting Russia's oil export infrastructure. It's certainly positive to see the European Union, America, and other international partners applying significant pressure on Russian gas and oil exports. The tankers that Russia utilizes to generate crucial revenue for its ongoing war efforts and to sustain Putin's close associates are now more frequently encountering operational difficulties within critical maritime zones. Additional global sanctions will also be imposed, targeting tankers and the complete infrastructure that facilitates these exports, including companies, insurers, captains, and their crews. Undoubtedly, we are also preparing our own new sanction packages, targeting various individuals, not exclusively Russian, who actively work for the aggressor's defense industry, and our sanction proposals are consistently taken into careful consideration by our international partners. This is a paramount priority within our foreign policy, aiming to ensure that Ukrainian sanctions are fully synchronized with those of our international partners. Just today, I personally outlined these specific tasks for all our Ukrainian diplomats. I also took the opportunity to congratulate them warmly on their professional day. I express my gratitude to everyone who genuinely contributes to our foreign policy efforts, ensuring Ukraine's effectiveness on the international stage. This is crucial, as it has become a fundamental pillar of our national defense. The true strength and power of Ukraine lies in its profound unity with the entire global community. And at this very critical moment in history, we have successfully achieved the highest possible level of this essential unity. Never before in its entire recorded history has Ukraine received such strong, unwavering support from its international partners as it has during this challenging period. Achieving this unprecedented level of support was certainly no easy task, just as it remains incredibly difficult month after month to continuously secure and steadfastly maintain the world's attention on Ukraine.